Well, a very good Saturday afternoon to you. You're watching KTN Weekend at 1 with me, Najma Ismael. We kick off this bulletin by joining our senior reporter, Patrick Amimo, who is in Kangela, where I believe that there is a burial standoff. Good afternoon, Amimo. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Najma Ismael.
What is happening in Kangela about the burial of Maina Njenga's wife?
Indeed, I'm at Kangela at Maina Njenga's home, where already Maina Njenga, as police have come at the compound. There were a few members who had come to witness maybe the burial ceremony that was supposed to be held today, but police have dispersed the group. And what is happening is now that Maina Njenga has left the compound in the company of CID officers either to Kangela, but the police are still camping at his compound. Najma?
And is he going to bury his wife today?
Indeed, yesterday there were reports that the Athi River Sub-County security team had agreed with Maina Njenga not to bury the wife today at his home in Kangela. But it appears Maina Njenga, on the other hand, said he was not briefed about the event or that particular understanding. So Maina held that he has to bury the wife at his compound. And this is what has brought the standoff. You remember, for the last 3 days, a group of Maasai warriors have been camping near the compound, about 2 kilometers away, and it seems that the burial will not take place at his home. So this particular standoff has made the police, the security team to be around to ensure that there are no clashes or disruption of law and order. So Maina Njenga, there were a group of people who had come, maybe given the conflicting signals of whether the burial was to be today or not. So the group of people who had come here to maybe for the burial have been forced to go back to their homes. They've been dispersed by the police. Maina Njenga was also taken from his house, and he accompanied the CID at around noon. Okay. So we don't know whether he's going to Kajiado or Athi River to maybe with the CID officers maybe to be briefed on the way forward.
Well, thank you very much, Patrick Amimo there, our senior reporter in Kangela, and he will be keeping us up to speed with the happenings of Maina Njenga's wife's burial. We move on now. The split in CORD over their Saba push appears to be growing. Another CORD member, the Mungiki Central MP Joe Mutambu, now says the ongoing political rallies by CORD will not solve the problems Kenyans are facing. He also says calling for mass action will only destabilize the country. He's proposing that CORD and Jubilee should select 10 MPs each and send a delegation to meet President Uhuru Kenyatta to discuss the state of the nation.
So I'm calling upon CORD leaders in consensus to appoint minimum or maximum 10 members of parliament, Jubilee to nominate 10 members of parliament, to come together, reason together, meet with the president, that is the executive, and resolve the issues facing Kenyans. The call of mass action will not solve the problems facing the country today. We are a peaceful country, and we must, at all costs, maintain our peace.
Now, still on mass action, we shall not allow mass action. These are the sentiments expressed by a section of leaders from the North Rift region who insist they cannot allow mass action rallies to disrupt the peace there. Speaking during a peace rally at 64 Stadium in Eldoret, several leaders, including Uasin Gishu Senator Isaac Melly, maintain that the CORD rallies may interfere with the healing process in that region that bore the brunt of the post-election violence in 2007 and early 2008.
For our peace, our individual peace.
Wenzetu wengi mpaka wa leo hawajulikani wako wapi, na hiyo njia hatutaki turudi tena. Sisi kama Uasin Gishu, today we are declaring Uasin Gishu County peace. Hatutaki rally yote.
We should remain united and remain focused The only sure way we can develop this country, we can transform our economy, is through unity of purpose. Let us have a cohesion where every citizen of this country can be proud of being in government.
Now, moving on to Nakuru, the Nakuru East Member of Parliament, David Gikaria, was arraigned in court to face charges of denying Nakuru County revenue. The MP was accused, alongside the Biashara Ward representative Stephen Kuria, of inciting the traders against the county government. The two leaders and 4 other people who also faced a second charge of inciting traders to destroy 2 market gates amounting to 80,000 shillings. They denied committing the offence and were released on a bond of 50,000 shillings each.
Sisi hatukuiva uhuru wetu, tulimwaga damu, watoto wetu walikufa, tukabaki bila, wengine walikuliwa na dudu miguu.
Sisi as Kenyans tuko na imani na rais wetu. Shida ya security ambayo tunashida, watu na shida wakisema Uhuru Kenyatta alichukua serikali na polisi walikuwa na shida nyingi. Tunajua serikali imetenga pesa ya kutosha ili askari wetu watupatie ulinzi wa kutosha.
Now, Matatu SACCOs have faulted the National Transport and Safety Authority for failing to get clearance from the central bank to allow them adopt the cashless mode of payment. According to the chairman of Forward Travellers SACCO that operates along Eastlands area, any transfer of money from members of the public needs to be authorized by central bank to ensure fair pricing and to avoid corruption there. There are only 9 days left to the July 1st deadline set by the Transport Ministry for commuters to adopt the cashless mode of payment. The Matatu operators were speaking when issuing free complimentary bus passes to elderly men and women who will now get free rides.
Hakuna hata moja, hata kutoka hata leo zai, hakuna moja already iko na any certificate. So you can implement something with law. Now the mechanism not yet structures in a professional manner. So we want the government to structure in a professional manner and get the license which is valid. Vijana waka idle na wamesoma. Unakuta hivi vijana wote hapa kwa Gideon University wamekosa kazi. Nyinyi media mkifikiria mtu amesoma amekosa kazi atafanya nini? Atafanya kazi ya kuimba, hata kazi ya kuimba lazima anakupiga ghetto ukienda nyumbani.
Na serikali inapaswa badala ya kupiga sekta ya matatu, ishikane na sekta ya matatu, ndio inakaa chini na inakuwa karibu na watu wale wako katika uku ground. Na kwa hivyo badala ya kila siku kusema ubaya wa watu wa matatu, tuwe tukiambiwa uzuri ya matatu.
Now, the United States has cut aid to Uganda and cancelled a military exercise in response to a law that imposes harsh penalties on homosexuality. Uganda's new law, which imposes jail terms for aggravated homosexuality, was widely condemned by Western countries. As KTN's Joy Doreen Bureau reports, some Kenyans are rather puzzled by America's move.
After threats by Western countries that Ugandan President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was in February provoked to sign the anti-gay bill into law. The United States, said to be one of Uganda's biggest donors, is the latest to slap Uganda with sanctions that include aid cuts and visa restrictions on officials championing the anti-gay law. The US has also cancelled a regional military exercise. A shared online White House statement read, "The government of Uganda's enactment of the Anti-Homosexuality Act runs counter to universal human rights and complicates our bilateral relationship. The United States will take steps consistent with current authorities to prevent entry into the United States by Ugandans who are found responsible for significant public corruption." We are also discontinuing or redirecting funds for certain additional programs involving the Ugandan Police Force, Ministry of Health, and National Public Health Institute, and cancelling plans to hold a U.S. military-sponsored aviation service in Uganda. This statement went on. Some Ugandans have responded to the sanctions.
And I've always said this, a choice between the future of the people of Uganda, the culture of Uganda, and my traveling to United States. I prefer the future of our children. And that has been my stand.
I know very well that the aid they are cutting was a contribution of the slaves that were taken from Africa, including Uganda, to their country.
We have other reasons with the United States. For example, the United States of America for many years now has been reminding Uganda that its expenditure on the military vis-a-vis political administration is so excessive that they are likely to cut off aid.
Sweden was one of the first donor countries to divert $10 million to aid agencies in Uganda, as opposed to directly donating it to the national government. The World Bank, too, has held back $90 million US. Since Museveni signed the bill into law, a section of Kenyan MPs and NGOs have expressed support for the anti-gay law. The pressure from the West on African countries to be receptive to gay unions has angered a section of those on the continent. Ordinary Kenyans too have had their say.
Bit dictatorial for the US to want to control what happens in any other country. It may not be right what Uganda is doing, but it is their own country and they can do whatever they feel like doing for their own people.
Homosexuality is also in prisons. It has been there, although it is suppressed by, of course, certain institutions. So if America is putting sanctions in Uganda on homosexuality, Uganda must consider its position in the world view. It is a member of the community, and the West controls the world.
Homosexuality has remained a controversial subject in African countries, and no regime has dared to publicly support gay unions or gay rights except South Africa.
Now, another year for the Masaku Sevens, and over 20 Mini Coopers flocked the Standard Group offices to officially flag off the third edition to be launched in Machakos. The 2014 edition of the Masaku Sevens rugby tournament will be held on the weekend of 27th to 29th June at the refurbished Machakos Stadium, and all systems are ready to go. This year's edition will be spiced up by teams from Norway, Fiji, Uganda, and home teams. Standard Group, the Masaku official media partner through Game Yetu, have sponsored the tie to a tune of over 5 million shillings media coverage, 5 million media coverage rather. The colorful flag off will end in Machakos, where the draw of participating teams will be made. This year's tournament is expected to be bigger and well organized, with security guaranteed to everyone that will be going to Machakos.
Expect 2 to 3 times the success that we had last year. Last year we had about 14,000 people coming through, and we were able to sample our Game Yetu newspaper to audiences who'd never seen the paper before, who'd not interacted with it before, which is the primary reason why we do this. And really, as KTN and Standard Group and Game Yetu platforms, we will be contributing about 5 million shillings in terms of the media value to make sure that we push through those audiences through the gates.
We've taken a lot of measures when it comes to security. We've actually involved our governor and told him we need sufficient security.
Well, that's it for KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismael. Up next is Joy Doreen Bira with Africa Speaks. Have a fantastic afternoon.